Happy Pioneer Day, everybody. A retired BYU professor has given everybody a Pioneer Day present of sorts in the form of an article discussing my friend Elise Boxer's book, Mormon Settler Colonialism. Elise is a Dakota woman from the Sisseton and Wahpeton Band. Her book is an attempt to see how settler colonialism affects how Latter-day Saints see both the Book of Mormon and then Native Americans. Now, as you might imagine, Dr. Peterson isn't very happy about this, and he starts out by calling Elise an ex-Latter-day Saint, which is relatively surprising to me, given the fact that she is one of the most devout and attending people that I know within Mormon studies. Elise is discussing the Indian placement program, the murals that Minerva Teichert created in the Manti Temple, and the portrayal of Native people within church manuals, not as an outsider, but by somebody who has been affected by these programs. In the Salt Lake Tribune article that Tamara Kemsley wrote about the book, she quotes Elise as saying basically that Elise wrote this book for Native people who didn't feel like they quite fit in or who had been hurt by their church's racism. And she wanted to show them that they had a place in the discussion and that there was room for them within the Mormon community. Rather than being a part of that conversation or listening to that conversation, Dr. Peterson decides to call Elise, based on no evidence, an ex-Latter-day Saint, thereby distancing her from the community and suggesting that her original sense that there wasn't a place for her within the church is correct. Now, to be fully clear, I'm not a Latter-day Saint. My dad is ex-Mormon. I grew up in Southeast Idaho. My grandma would occasionally take me to her LDS ward. She was a believing member, but I never felt called to join or personally called to that community. I write about Latter-day Saints because it's the community I grew up in, it's my family heritage, and it shaped who I am as a person, and therefore as a scholar, it's something that I want to think about. As a result, I can't tell Dr. Peterson how to live his faith or talk to him as a fellow believer in the LDS Church. But as Elise's friend, I do wish that he would think a moment or stop and consider her as a fellow Latter-day Saint before writing an article that frames her criticism of the church and her experiences within the church, which includes listening to her friends, seeing Book of Mormon stories and pretend to be Indian before he would so easily dismiss her. Because all Dr. Peterson is doing with this article is suggesting that Elise is right. She doesn't really belong and isn't going to be able to belong to the church she grew up in.